Hello. This one. The Scorpion and the Whale. So, hi, first of all, welcome. Today I was doing Patrick stuff. Today was a Patrick kind of day. Um, this video is not sponsored by Tazo or Tasso, which is what I was sipping on when we recorded the last episode of Tranquil Leaves. Anyway, I'm going to use the Wild Unknown Animal Spirits. I have all four of them out. I might use all of them. Not at first, though. But I'm going to use the Animal Spirits and the Tarot. And then I do have the Alchemy and the Archetypes right here. And I've been meaning to use all of them, and I have all of them. So why not today? It's early enough in the day that I can spend some time doing this. I can spend quite a bit of time doing this and still have time left in the day, because today and tomorrow, everything gets taken care of. So it was a Patrick Day today, meaning that I did some solo journeying. And by solo journeying, I mean I went around town. And I put in more time than I thought I would have necessarily at the gym. And on the screen, I was watching, hey, Holly, how you doing? Dangerous Jobs. And he was catching scorpions. And then here's the scorpion card. And you could see them under UV light. Like they were easier to spot in the dark under UV light because not a lot of stuff reflects on that spectrum or whatever, or however that works. And so I was like, obviously I'll use the Wild Unknown Animals. And then I was thinking about like a yes and, like a 2-card yes and then a 2-card no but. So, and then 229 has been a thing. So I'm going to first in the tarot pick the second card for the yes, and then I'll do the 29th animal for the and then in the animals I'll do the second card for the no, and then the 29th card in the tarot for the but. And then I'll shuffle in between and we'll see what's up, and then I'll bring all the cards together. Life is wild. The expedition has officially begun. Energy is just so, there's such an energy of support and momentum, like all over. Look, there's the Chariot at the cut with the Fool all over. And I remember I was using probably the Wild Unknown Archetypes, maybe. It was a message recently that came out, maybe across 2 videos, maybe it was just one, about sacrifice. And when we sacrifice things, there's a more immediate perception or recognition or knowing of what it is that we're sacrificing than there is what it is that we have to gain. So when it comes time to give something up or to move away, to step away from one thing, before we fully know all that is entailed or involved in what we're moving and going towards, it can feel like we're losing. But it was just like, know that there is so much to be gained that, don't allow the concept of sacrifice to like throw you off, because what you're getting is. And for some reason today, I'm like thinking about how cool it would be if I could do some things in my own life moving forward. And then I go through my onboarding stuff, and like this, it's so aligned with who I am and what I want and how I want to navigate my own path and journey professionally. That, because I've mentioned it, like I took a pay cut to, like, from what I was making before. I made more at what ultimately ended up for me to be a dead end job because they terminated that plant and I didn't transfer out to a different one. Like I made more there and I had less financial responsibility that I'm going to have moving forward. But like in going through the onboarding and with all of the ideas that are coming to me with everything that this company is about, that I saw reflected in my, like in the interview process before, like I even got bombarded with all, not bombarded, but before I was introduced to all of that, we're so great, it may be like that, it might not be, come work for us. Like I could already tell it was there. um and there's just something about today that maybe it's because I'm so close to starting, um that really, it doesn't necessarily, well, I guess it does put things into perspective. Since this job is at home, this is the one that I've grown into. There were some dreams that I had that I've grown away from. This is one of the ones that I've grown into, that's at a point and period in my life where everything is, I guess, blossoming. Like I'll say blossoming, but it feels like they've already blossomed. Like it feels like they've already opened up, but now it's going even deeper. Um, oh, I don't have my drink over. I'm like, where's my drink? There is a little mead in here. I didn't have any honey, so I substituted honey wine. And then I'm gonna pour a glass of straight up honey wine. Um, but it's like, since it was at home, I didn't necessarily expect for it to be as great and as amazing of an opportunity as it is. Um, I'm from the middle of the US, the middle of nowhere, cornfield, soybeans. Like, you know, we just got a Starbucks. We don't have a Target. Um, and I remember, like, even when I went to Purdue, there was the obvious, like, oh, yeah, like these people have access to things that I did not have access to in my little, like, in my whatever. But I also met people who had access to even less than I did. And it was like, what? Because somebody was like, yeah, we didn't even have AP classes, or we didn't even have these classes or those classes, or like we didn't have this. And I'm just like, what? I didn't think education could get any worse than, where I grew up. And that was mostly because of how everyone talks about the town, and kind of sort of because, like, you just know, like, if you don't even have a Starbucks, if you don't even have a Target, if you don't have a Trader Joe's, then, like, you know, you kind of know. Um, but even then, I was able to be appreciative of the things that, I did have access to. And it makes me think of that. An incredible opportunity, this whole sort of like life that is bubbling up right under my feet. When I was so opposed to coming home, I didn't want to be here, don't want to stay here. Um, like, but for right now, it's more than enough, and I didn't have to leave to find much of anything. So anyway, it's been this like, I'm like, wow, oh my gosh. And now I'm excited because, again, what I have to gain is far more than the dollars that I'm losing. Right, right. And it just made me think of that today. Uh, that, like, when it comes to sacrifice, there's the thing that that you're giving up immediately, but you are positioned to receive so much more. So don't, begrudge it too much before you really start to allow things to unfold. And I'll give this one more shuffle, and then I'll start. I'm going to timestamp this as best as I can, as I remember to. Um, actually, yes and no, but, and then we'll go from there. I feel like I need like themes and stuff. So I am gonna go ahead and shuffle out. No, I won't, because this is what I was gonna start with, and then when I get into those, if it references, I'm good at making references to things that have already been. You know what I mean? So I'm starting to drink through some of my teas. Kinda. I went through a box after having it for so long. I guess I'll start with the animals. The dragonfly at the bottom. I was listening to Reem yesterday. That was a yesterday thought. I was listening to Reem yesterday, and I was watching some of the other screens on the TV while I was in the gym. Also, I'm back into like my little corner. So I love that. Um, but anyway, I was listening to Reem yesterday, and in her Virgo reading, I forget what it was in particular, but as I'm watching the screen in front of me, um, there was this. It's like cause, effect, and time. Cause, effect, and time in the human mind. I also could have been listening to Eve, because I listened to Eve and I listened to Reem. Um, and I don't remember which one, because I was sort of already having the thought, and then I heard somebody say something that kind of went along with it, but I don't remember which one. But it was about how, mostly because of time, cause, mostly because of our perception of time. It might have been Eve, because Kairos came out for Taurus, but I think that was the day before yesterday. I was gonna say that like it matters, but it doesn't matter. Um, right? I was like, okay, I'm loving it. I sent her like the heart eyes, whatever. I'm like, all right. Plus, I have another friend. There's something about opportunity right now. Like, know so many people who are like getting new jobs, who are like getting things that they've wanted for a while, who are like moving and relocating. I'm like, oh my gosh, okay. I'm so excited. At first, I was kind of neutral. I guess I'm one of those people that like, I don't necessarily always get excited for the thing until like it's happening. You know what I mean? Because that'd be a long time to be excited. Um, I'm just like, oh, anything can happen between now and then. But anyway, I only say that because I have a friend who's going to be moving to Canada over the summer. And I'm like, what? Because I already know other people over there that I need to see. And I was like, you owe me a drink. So I can get my drink too while I'm there. Dragonfly and the Bumblebee. There was this thing about cause, effect, and time, and how sometimes the effect of a certain cause doesn't happen immediately. But because of our perception of time and because of our perception of cause and effect, we may misattribute certain effects to causes that are nearly completely irrelevant. And depending on the person, governing body, or entity, they can like take advantage of our perception of time and the immediacy in our within our perception of time to intentionally like misdirect attention, or to intentionally cause an attribution to something that like it wasn't. Is it going to mean anything? I don't know, but for some reason Dragonfly made me think of that. um I was also thinking about Sasquatch and what I did last time, and I was like, did I read that right? Like, I did preface it by saying like I personally love technology. It's a tool that to do stuff, you know. But I guess overall, the ending feeling was one that, like, if we have to especially falsely, invalidate another point to make our point seem true. Like whenever we have to lie to make a truth seem true, it's almost like, again, it's that jigsaw puzzle. It's like we're shaving stuff off of the puzzle pieces, or we're adding things onto puzzle pieces that don't belong. And so when we try to get everything to fit, there's like a discongruency. There's like this awkward, impossible to reconcile sort of thing. And it's like even more impossible to complete the picture because of what we do to the pieces of the puzzle. And it's like when we allow truths to stand as is, even if they are not our own truths, when we don't have to like embellish, or when we don't embellish, then again, it's like things have a certain coherence and harmony to them. But so often, again, it's like one thing has to be wrong or false or evil for another thing to be right. And it was more so along those lines of like allowing the pieces to be the pieces so that when things come together, it works overall. And that's one of the things that, again, like, I'm gonna love it. I'm gonna love it. It took me a while to get here, but hey. It's the Reem! Oh, it's Reemy with the cosmic egg. What? And then in the Virgo video, there was the goddess with the snakes. Okay, Reem, I see you. It made me think of when Russ was in Mexico. I think it was before he went to Chichen Itza. There was the goddess with the snakes around her waist, maybe. Anyway. All right. The second card is the clam for yes. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The bat. Yes, the clam, but the bat. The bottom of the two halves of the decks are the sea serpent and the unicorn. And look at how like the sea serpent is forming that ring, and then the unicorn has the moon behind it. The moon pools on the oceans, like creates tides and stuff like that. This I'll put up here. So the sea serpent is going to go with the clam because it's like the first basically half of the deck. And then I'll put the bottom next to the bat. So there's a moon on both the bat and the unicorn. So yes, the oyster, but the bat. I'll timestamp it like 1730. Yes, and no, but 1730. Since I'm basically reading these together. I'm like, anyway, enough about me. Ooh, Death and the Two of Cups, the Magician in Death, the Hierophant in Death. Okay. It was Death and the Two of Cups. The Two of Cups, especially in the Wada known tarot for me, is basically a mirror. The Two of Cups is the energy of whatever it comes out with. So like Death and the Two of Cups, especially since there's only one card in the deck for each card, Death and the Two of Cups would be like death and death. The Two of Cups would just like take on the energy of death to meet death. Or it could be like rebirth facing death. It could be like a baby and an elderly person, symbolizing one who is new to life and one who is nearing the end of it. It depends really on, how it comes out. All right. Cut right there. The second card is the Daughter of Cups. No. The Daughter of Cups, but the Bat. And then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The Tower. And the Tower. Woo. So, yes, the Oyster and the Tower. The bottom of the decks, we have the 5 of Cups and the 6 of Wands. The Father of Cups and the Daughter of Wands was at the cut before in the last shuffle, basically. So again, we have that fire and water. This is going to go with the Tower because it came out last. And then this is going to go with the Daughter of Cups because it came out first. She was the second card. So altogether, it's the Oyster, the Tower, the Daughter of Cups, and the Bat. Oh, look. So on the right side, hey, look, there's a gazelle. The Lamb and the Gazelle. The Bear and the Magician. The 3 of Cups and the Crocodile. They're looking the same way. There's a sun on both of these, like a radiant sun on both of these. And the Magician has paws on the pinnacle, which is earth energy. The Magician is a cheetah, but it doesn't matter how fast something is. All things are the same speed at rest. Most things are the same speed at rest. For most things, when they're at rest, they're not moving. There's almost this energy right here. There's this energy of it's almost like making such great preparation that nothing needs to be done. It's watchful, it's vigilant, and it's diligent. It's vigilant, it's diligent, it's watchful. If anything needs to be done, it is there. But again, it's like it's something about such great preparation or such efficiency in the construction and installation and the running of something that it doesn't require anything. It's almost like fully automated. And then there's the 4 of Swords and the Gazelle. So yeah, it's fully automated. Both of these are at rest as well. And here we have 2 prey animals, even though most lambs are on farms. So, but they're still sheepish. And look, the sun is there behind the gazelle, and then the sun is on the third eye of the lamb. And we see the illumination in this fairly circular sort of motion, or in this fairly circular area. Reem! Oh snap, not Reem coming in when the Reem card come out. Hi, how are you? How are you doing? Love you. Thanks for stopping by. I might be one of my besties is moving to Canada and he owes me a drink. So anyway. And I'm gonna have a lot of I guess okay, back to Patrick for a second. Okay, well, I appreciate it. I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, hold up. I do have where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Since you came in, I'm gonna take another shot of the gin. Oh, it's literally right here. I thought it was. It's never far away, just in case. The Jasmine and Rose gin. Love it. It gets better every time I have it. Okay. Whew. What was Patrick gonna say? There was something else that I like noticed or realized. Oh, yeah. I don't know if it's related to this. It might be. It could be. Yeah, because of the Four of Swords. Um, so as and because of the Magician and the Bear, it's like, and then again, like with the Three of Cups and the Crocodile, everything is at rest. Nothing is necessarily moving. Which again, it just feels like it speaks to the power of preparation. Or it speaks to the energy that one is cultivated, and then Temperance and the Peacock is here under these. Like I could keep pulling the bottoms from this side and continue going. Um, but again, it's just like everything is so energetically aligned, everything is so internally on point. Um, one second. Everything is so like, hey David, how you doing? Everything is so, I want to say internally meticulous. Like the phrase internally meticulous. Maybe that's it. Like there was such, glad to hear it. There was such an attention to detail. There's such an efficacy of the work that was done. There's such a state of internal affairs that it pulls on, it doesn't even pull on alignment externally because the external is at rest as well. And the reason why the thing I was just about to say was that, like, there are a lot of moving parts in my own life right now. Parts that I've wanted to move for a very, very, very long time. It's like there are parts that are, it's like everything is moving. Some things are precursors to other things, some things are, they just come before they intermediary. Some things are intermediary, some things are precursors to other things, some things are like in between steps, other things are larger, and everything is happening. But while everything is happening, especially at the speed at which everything is happening, it can be easy to, it can be easy, it can be difficult to pick a frame of reference. Like, which one of the moving things right now do I focus on? Or do I zoom out and try to look at the whole picture? If I zoom out and look at a whole picture, are there details inside the little thing that I'm missing? And so, basically, long story short, I arrived at this point that I talked about, but then it sort of went a step further, kind of, where I had to look at everything that's moving and I had to almost not necessarily prioritize. I'll say prioritize because it felt like prioritizing. Um, because there were things. Like there's a limited resource, and I put limited resource in quotation marks because so many things are invalidating the finiteness of that resource. But as far as gifts from the universe, excluded, as far as things that I have no way of knowing about because the divine is knocking dominoes, um, oh, my glass is empty. There are things that I want, and then it's like I have to basically make space for all of those things to move. And not everything is necessarily going to move at the same pace. And not everything is necessarily going to be as extensive. But like for me, myself, relatively, I like, it's like, well, what do I want? What is it that I desire? And what can I sacrifice? Like, I don't have to take this area of my life to 10 if there's this other area of my life that I also want to move. So, like, I can sacrifice and bring this down to like a 7 because right now I only need a 7. I don't need 10, and I don't necessarily plan on being here like super long term. So I was like, okay, we can bring this one back to a 7 so I can move this one from like a 2 or a 3 up to also about a 7 or an 8. And then this other one, like that one is just like it feels like that area of my life, it wherever, however much I put into it, is how much I'm going to get out of it. That one isn't affected by the same resources as the other two areas of my life, but in the overall picture, it's like it's affected because I only have so much time in a day, and because I only have so much time in a day, I only got so much time in a year. You know what I mean? And so it was like, okay, well, like I can pull back on this one because I want to be able to do this one more. And then as I did that, as I communicate that, those the seemingly limited resource that is surprisingly unlimited, not surprisingly, it's like, oh, well, like again, like that night, I'm like, you know what? I want to do this more. So I'm gonna cut back on this one. And then I'm met with like, oh, well, like, what if I did this? What if I did that? And I'm like, hello? Was somebody listening to me? Because like yeah, like, and then I get to stay here. Yes, please, thank you. And again, it's just been this season of like, it's been this time of me experiencing that as long as I know what I want, and as long as I um move in the ways that I can move, and as long as I trust what I'm receiving, then it's like the rest will be taken care of. Again, like there are things that I would have had no way to be able to like know that they would turn out. There are synchronistic meetings that I would have had no ability to coordinate. There are these coincidences aligning that, besides me being where I am in the moment, and besides me doing what it is that I want to do and that I know is for me to be doing, I also had a realization like the night before last that I'm getting back. I'm growing closer to, I'm incorporating more. A previous version of me that was more like social and extroverted and present that I really missed. And for a hot second, I was afraid that, like, I was like, well, I don't know how this is going to play out, whatever. But anyway, it's like there's such a sturdy everything that not much needs to be done. And maybe that's because relatively the amount of stuff that we do, um, in the grand scheme of things, is relatively small because we can only control ourselves, because we only decide what we do. We don't control what other people do or don't do. We don't decide who we're going to meet in a day. Even if we make plans, they can fall through. There's so much that's left up to chance. And I guess because of temperance, timing. And behind temperance is the Knight of Pentacles, the Son of Pentacles, timing. But again, behind that is this Three of Pentacles, Ace of Cups, Empress, with the Four of Wands. There's like this gorgeous cooperative energy. And it doesn't have to necessarily come at speed. But again, I feel like temperance and the Knight of Pentacles, especially, it speaks to the quality of work that was done. It speaks to the quality. It makes me think of the cleaning house card in the Enchanted Map Oracle. There's the peacock, there's the jaguar, there's the wolf. The wolf was the one that was patiently waiting behind the veil. And then there's the butterfly transformation. And then, so let's see, we get 4 cards for 4 cards, right? So the peacock is coming out with temperance. The peacock is an inner beauty. The peacock is a beauty that radiates from the inside out. And again, like in temperance with that Knight of Pentacles, in the time of moving slowly, in the time of reflection, introspection, in the time of cleaning house, and in the time of settling internal affairs, everything was done on the inside that would cloud the glass, that would disrupt our ability, or that would distort the things that we radiate, that we put out from the inside. And then the jaguar would be there paired with this Knight of Pentacles, both in the dark. And again, it speaks to, like, I feel like that speaks more to the depth of the work that was done with the jaguar and the Knight of Pentacles. Whereas everything else is kind of sort of like the quality of it. And then we have the wolf lining up with the Three of Pentacles. The wolf was the one that was silently waiting. I guess we reached the point where we passed whatever stankness. We're in the Ofralagu. Again, there's so much cooperation here between the internal and external, between the self and the universe. And then we have the butterfly with that Ace of Cups. So again, these two, it's like now we're in a position to receive these things because, again, of what happened, transformed, changed internally. And then I'm going to go one further. Oh, no, I got to go even further. I'm not going to go that deep. The fox is here. The fox, Kitsune, it's a trickster, kind of like Coyote. But the reason why I mentioned the fox is because, again, it was the Empress, the Four of Wands, and then the Seven of Swords is here. Under the Seven of Swords is the Emperor, who comes to work with the Empress. Let me see. Empress, Four of Wands, Seven of Swords, the Emperor. The Seven of Swords in this deck in particular, for me, is a card of birthright. But it's the thing that we don't receive until the time comes for us to receive it. You don't get access to your inheritance until you turn 18. Like, this money is going to go into an account until you're 18. You can't touch it. But while it's in that account, it's accruing interest. So it's almost, it can be a delayed satisfaction versus an instant gratification because of the accumulation, because it accrues, because of interests and other things. Like, in time, when everything is ready, and everything is ready, it reveals itself. What is returned, what is revealed, the Emperor for that Empress, and the Four of Wands is literally right there. Like, this is so gorgeous. So yeah, but that's the thing about the fox. The thing about the fox is, and maybe that goes back to cause, effect, and time, kind of, sort of, not really. The thing about the fox is more so relating to sacrifice. We only see the thing that we're giving up. We see the yeses and the nos that we see. There are so many things that we don't see. There are so many reasons why we may have to wait a little bit longer than we necessarily planned. Reasons, again, that are far beyond our comprehension. But when that time comes, it is revealed. And then it's like, oh, I thought that, this was happening because that was happening, and I was grieving this opportunity that I didn't even get, and blah, blah, blah. And then you live enough life, you keep going, you keep sort of pursuing and persisting and enduring. And then you find the thing that was meant for you. You reach that point where it's like, oh, now I understand why it was a no. Now I understand why things didn't work until now. And again, it's like basically at the now, everything is at rest. Like the energy is gorgeous. None of this necessarily feels stagnant. I mean, we dug all the way down to the Emperor and Empress, but it doesn't require exerting a lot of effort. It's so like effortless. It's so effortless. It's so aligned. It's so like naturally compatible that it doesn't have to be forced. It doesn't have to be poked. It doesn't have to be prodded. And that's not to say that it won't come with challenges, because I'm sure it will. I'll put these backwards. Um, but then again, like we're at this moment with and it's like the horse is in that, and this like looking down, sort of like despondent and this despair. The unicorn looks straight ahead with the horn pointing upward. Maybe this is a moment of and I get, look, they're looking in opposite directions too. But with the lamb and with the gazelle, no, it was these two. It was the magician and the bear. And then it was these two. They're both looking forward. They're both looking at you. This was that energy of like taking multiple things into account. It's like worrying about the things that you can worry about and not worrying about the things that aren't for you to worry about. So you actually end up probably not worrying about too much, because everything will be taken care of. Um, anyway. And maybe this is also like, it's an acknowledgement that disappointment isn't fun, that it's like, it's the sucky parts of life. Like rejection isn't fun, disappointment isn't fun, like something not ending up how you thought it would be isn't fun. But again, it's like it's one of those things where it's like if you're not there, then it's like when someone says like don't worry about it, and you're worried about it. How are you supposed to just not worry about it? You know what I mean? But when you reach that point where you cannot worry about it, then it's easy to say, don't worry about it. I don't think these two energies are necessarily mutually exclusive. I think you can be in both. The Five of Cups in this deck, though, every cup is upright. Because every cup is upright, there's this feeling that, like, there are five cups that are spilled below the card. The horse sees five spilled cups. That's why they're in despair. And that's why the horse is in despair. But what the horse isn't paying attention to is like five upright cups. Honestly, it could be less than five cups that are in reverse. It can be more. Again, it feels like it's playing into that, like, when we sacrifice something, we only really know what it is that we're giving up. We don't fully know what it is that we have to gain. And like, for as long as that thing is in our lives that we're gaining, it will continuously unfold. It can multiply a quadrillion fold exponentially more quickly than we think it can. We don't know. We don't have it yet. But there's like a trust in this unicorn. There's like a knowing in this unicorn. There's a reliance on whatever that third eye vision is that allows everything under this Five of Cups and unicorn to be at rest. Like the horse is upset that there's no movement, that nothing is moving. I'm kind of curious to see what's on the other side of this. I mean, I'll find mine out. Oh, well. So on the other side, it's the sea serpent and the Six of Wands. There's something that, again, the butterfly is here. There's something that we've overcome within ourselves within ourselves that changes us on such a deep level. I don't even know if we fully comprehend and understand the magnitude of the changes that were made, the magnitude of the things that we've overcome, because I don't think we necessarily know how deep it goes, how deep it goes. Like it feels like, and this is interesting because the rainbow snake came out in the mystical creatures oracle cards that I used, like what, yesterday or the day before. And it had Ouroboros energy, but in the depiction of the card, the snake never bit its own tail. But it's like when the snake bites its own tail and then it starts moving, it creates this whirlpool. And is that like the one video I did with Corey where I had the art book for one of the World of Warcraft games and the Maelstrom came out. And the Maelstrom, it was like it was this whirlpool that like sucks in and brings in all of these things. If the snake is moving, again, like it's bringing in everything towards its center. So you don't have to go out, you don't have to really explore. Everything is being pulled in. It's like there was a blockage that was sitting deep in the water that kept everything still, it kept everything stagnant. Stagnation breeds bacteria, everything becomes fetid and like rotted and kind of gross, like in a not great way. But somehow, somewhere, something was deeply transformed down here. It's like this is a snapshot of the butterfly. It was deeply transformed down here. This one change could be many, because there are many scales on the wings of the butterfly. But it caused something to be like dislodged. And that, like, now everything can drain. And if you've ever like had a full tub and then you pull the plug and you allow it to drain, it creates that whirlpool as everything is sort of coming into the center. Under that, it's the golden egg in the the Four of Pentacles. This is the other half of the decks now. I should use the other camera so you can see it, but I'm not, so sorry. This is an energy of tending to things where you are. Again, it plays on that, like, we do what is within our power to do. We do what is for us to do, and everything else we don't worry about. I also love that, like, you see the cross of gold and the thread there. And then we have this golden egg, like right in the middle. This honestly feels like it moves outward. Like this was everything sort of like leading up to the now moment that is snapshotted by the cards on the table. This feels like it moves forward. This, like when I was talking about how, like, we don't know because we haven't yet experienced it. And because with life, anything can happen at any time. We got free will, other people got free will, stuff happens. It's like we're given this golden egg, but we don't necessarily know what it's going to be or what it's going to become. And even if it's almost like, even if we see the creature that hatches from the egg, now we know the creature in its infancy. We don't necessarily know what that creature is like in its adolescence, and we don't know what it's like in its adulthood, and we don't know what it's like at the end of its life. Like playing back on like butterflies, like imagine that you don't know that caterpillars become a butterfly, or that other caterpillars become moths, because the moth is here with the Ten of Swords, and then the Chariot is with the beaver. Oh, I picked up two cards. The whale is under that beaver, if you were curious, and the Eight of Wands and the star is under the Chariot. But like imagine that you don't know that some caterpillars become moths, and it's like your caterpillar is doing something weird. It goes into its chrysalis, or it's what, pupa? I think it's the pupa phase, and like it's still for weeks at a time. And you think it's dead, you're mourning because again, like you don't know that this is a part of the life cycle of this thing. All you know is that you like whatever came out of the egg, whatever was your initial introduction to this energy, to whatever's moving forward, unlocking whatever you find. It was this egg, you get a worm, you get a caterpillar that like eats all your leafy greens. It goes into the pupa phase for a long time. You're like, I haven't seen it in forever. I think it's dead. Then one day it emerges as this moth. After it goes through its own little ten of swords internal process, as it liquefies and it shifts all its organs around and as wings form. And again, it's part of that energy of like the mini scale, even if it's one butterfly, even if it's one moth. On the wings of that butterfly, I think on the wings of the moth, I don't know, are many little scales, nearly iridescent. Um, and it's like this thing will continue to transform. This Four of Pentacles, it feels like it's nurturing it, it's taking care of it, it's doing everything that you can. I was thinking about Empress energy because I've been watching a few readings, and there's this. I don't necessarily personally whatever, but it's a thing. I guess there are envious and jealous people. Like jealous people are a thing, and there are those who genuinely wish for our success and happiness, but who can't always face their own choices and decisions to act or not act that lead them to the place and position that they are in life. And so they don't want us to be more successful than them. They don't want to be alone. They don't want to lose a friend or a loved one or someone who is close to them. And it's like, if you do this, then you will like leave me, and I don't want to be left. It doesn't necessarily always have to be malicious. It's just like we all face emotion, and we make whatever choices that we can, whatever the best that we can under, like, when we're faced with those emotions and we have to make those choices. But it's been a lot of like, don't talk about this, don't talk about that, you know. But it made me think again of the feminine. It made me think again of the mother who within her womb nurtures and cares for a life until it is ready to exist in the outside world. And that's what the Four of Pentacles with this golden egg is making me think of. It's like doing the things that are within your power to do, like feeding, nurturing yourself, even if you aren't completely aware of how those things are benefiting you, so that when the time comes for you to deliver whatever, it can more or less stand on its own 2 feet. With babies, it's a lot less because after they're outside of you, there's still a lot of things that you got to do for them. But eventually, they reach that point where they can stand on their own 2 feet, where they can like navigate the world around them in a way that isn't as dependent on you to do things for them. So, and again, the Empress did come out. And again, like, I'm not trying to take away from the magnificence and the marvelousness and the miracle of women giving birth, but it's not like most of them spontaneously, single-handedly create life within themselves. It's a joint effort. But there again, like there's something about being able to nurture a life solely, partially through the things that you feed yourself and the things that you do. Because I guess if you don't feed yourself, then the baby's going to take it one way or another. So, helps you in the long run. Um, until it's ready to like exist in the world. And I think that sometimes maybe we can be a little hasty in it's almost like a product that's rushed to market before it's like fully tested. And then it's like there's a whole bunch of like side effects that we don't know about, or there's this critical failure that happens because the time wasn't taken to really ensure that it was ready to face the public. And then it's recalls, it's lawsuits, it's you lose more than whatever. And again, it's like, I guess ultimately it could work out that way because we don't know. We don't know necessarily all that it is that we're getting until we get it. Again, all we really know is like what we're sacrificing. And sometimes we don't even know that. Because you think you're giving up one thing and then you find out, oh my gosh, like there's all of this other stuff that one thing was a critical support structure for, and now everything is falling apart. So finally, after 40 minutes, I already got to go to the bathroom. I know that noise was probably obnoxious. I'm trying to think if I want to, I will a little bit, just because I like it, you know. I got this wine stopper that makes me think of pharaohs because it's like there was the one period of Egypt where the hat was just like this, and then there was the one where the hat was just that, and then there's the period where it's like both of them together. Anyway, that's not why I got it. I got it because it was the cheapest stopper that they had. You know what I mean? All right, there we go. Not a full glass because when I do full glasses, it only lasts for like a day. So, back on the topic of sacrifice. When it comes to sacrifice, it's like, yes, the oyster. But the tower. Yes, the oyster, but the tower. This feels like barriers of entry or barriers to entry. This feels like unforeseen challenges, unforeseen circumstances. This feels like things that would make the thing that we move towards feel impossible. Because there's so much, not a lot, but within the context of using cards that are animals that I personally have some knowledge of, that there are many people that probably have a lot more knowledge of. I see the oyster and I know because of our experiences with oysters that the thing that we're actually after is the pearl inside of the oyster. Just like I know that when I see a butterfly, because of what it means or has come to me, at one point it was a caterpillar. Now, if I didn't know that caterpillars become butterflies or moths, if I see a caterpillar, imagine my surprise when the time comes for it to change, for it to evolve, for it to become even more. Imagine my disappointment maybe at getting a caterpillar. I'm like, oh, this is it. And then it becomes a butterfly or a moth. It's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Look at how it changed. And you could take it a step further and say, well, butterflies and moths don't really they don't live that long. Okay, way to be realistic, pessimist. But again, it's like because of almost outside context, I know that what we're really after is the pearl. Now, that outside context almost could be intuition. We see one thing or we're presented something in one way. Again, like we might know what is asked of us in terms of what the divine is guiding us to let go of or release or move away from. And depending on our attachment to that thing and those things, it comes with different levels of difficulty to sort of like give up. Some things, are pretty easy. Some things are very much so not. This intuition the intuition, the clairvoyance, the clair whatever of the unicorn, the power of the third eye of the unicorn. It's maybe just more of a, sometimes it can be a knowing of more so the end goal, or more so like maybe a later stage in the development of whatever this is. So, maybe our intuition, our discernment tells us it's going to be a butterfly, but we get a caterpillar and we're like, what is this? This isn't what I wanted. Like, is this truly the way that I must go? Like, is there, and that disappointment can come. And at that moment, again, it's like, do we trust and continue moving forward, or whatever? Like, when the energy is so gorgeously directed in one particular direction by the reader, it's easy to be like, oh, well, like the best course of action would be the one where we've done all of the hard work to the point where we can sit and receive and manage what is for us to manage. And not, I'm one person, this is one perspective. Obviously, I can't get rid of all bias, and I can't really speak to any experience that is not my own. I can incorporate other experiences for other experiences is I can incorporate other experiences from people that I know personally and not personally, from my outside perspective, for people that I don't know too well, or with a little bit more insight from people that I know better, from media, from whatever. Call me the master of metaphor. Don't call me a master of anything. Call me a lover of metaphor and interconnectedness and interwovenness. So, yes, it's the oyster, and it's going to be broken open with the tower. This is actually gorgeous, because with the oyster, excuse me, it can be like, well, how do I open it? How do I get the pearl? Where is the bright side? Like, I only see loss, but well, here's the tower to crack it open. So it almost a tiny bit feels like there is someone in the divine host, and the divine host is your angels, your ancestors, your guides, your guardians, your gods, your goddesses, your god exes, who, not braggadocious, but who, there's an energy that wants to pleasantly surprise you, because it feels like with this tower card, there's like a spectacle, there's a grand show of the opening of this oyster, right? Like, we could have got the otter. I mean, I didn't pull cards in a way that the otter would have come out, but I could have been led and guided and directed to do tarot for one and animals for the other. So the yes and I did use the animals first. It could have been like the otter and the oyster, or the oyster and the otter. The otter picks up a rock and it bashes the oyster until it opens up. But no, someone grand theatrics in the dead of the night. Picture it. Lightning, lightning. The oyster opens up and then a pearl rises, and from the sea foam, Venus. Because why not? Honestly, who's to say that it is an oyster that'll come out of this? Or who's to say that it is a pearl that'll come out of this oyster? It could be anything. This, I guess, along the lines of, along the brain train of Venus, this could be the fanfare at the birth of, or the arrival of, whatever is inside the oyster. It's almost like, when this person was born, there was a auspicious star that was coming across, or a meteor shower. There was a meteor shower, and like this happened and that happened when they came into the world. And it's like, okay, well, show off. Again, just as there's a recognition of this Five of Cups by the divine, because like living life ain't easy. It comes with challenges, it comes with setbacks, sometimes it comes with disappointments, especially if you are gifted with a certain sight doesn't always include every step in between. You know what I mean? Again, it's like you think you're getting a butterfly, but you get a caterpillar, and you're like, what is this? This is not what I was shown. This is not what I was told I would be given. Or you're asking for a phoenix and you get an egg, and you're like, well, phoenixes arise from the ashes. Like, why am I given an egg? Is this just going to be a regular bird? And it's like, well, before a phoenix can rise, it must be born, unless they just spontaneously generate from a random pile of ash. Something has to birth the bird in the first place. But again, that same recognition, it feels like, carries through here, because it's like, yes, we're given the oyster, but and it's the tower. It is probably the most divine intervention card in the entire deck. Literally, I was reading a lease, and they're like, tenant is responsible for this and that, excluding negligency on the leaser's part or acts of God. It said acts of God, because no one, again, it like it falls into this category of things that no one would even know to foresee, or would have any inkling of, like, the occurrence of, unless, again, it is revealed. If it's revealed, then hey, congratulations, you're so gifted, go you. But outside of those things, it's like the tower is the act of God. It's the will of the divine that comes in, and it breaks open, it breaks through something that, upon initial um, interaction with, meeting with, or of whatever this energy is, we may think it's impossible. Now, again, there's cause, effect, and then there's time. I ain't reading no kind of timing. How long is it going to take for this oyster to be cracked open? I do not know. Temperance told us divine timing. That crocodile told us that when you're ready, it will be sort of done. Days, weeks, seconds, minutes, I don't know. Years, decades, centuries, millennia, I don't know. This lifetime, incarnation, the next, I don't know. Yes, you're given an oyster, and it will be opened for you in the most spectacular of ways. No to the Daughter of Cups, but the bat. What I love about the Daughter of Cups and the bat is that, again, immediately after the bat is the unicorn. And after that is the bear. The bear holding the sun, the unicorn holding the moon. Also, the gazelle holding the sun. Um, it feels like maybe a little high priestess in nature, because the Daughter of Cups is intuitive. She is the daughter of the pre-high priestess. The Queen of Cups is the pre-high priestess for me. And for a lot of people, I'm not, a lot of people see the Queen of Cups as like the high priestess embodied, with her gifts of intuition and psychic insight, through her closeness to the interconnectedness of everything, honestly. And this is her daughter. It feels like the bat, again, there's just something here that feels like, even with one's gift of insight, it doesn't account for everything. Like there are still many things that are not known. And it also feels like through lived experience, things will be revealed. The no but of this almost feels like what a lot of people would call like an initiation. Hold up. Is it really not here? I thought I had the book for the Wild Unknown Animals. I was like, I almost feel like reading the book on this one, and I thought I had it, but I don't. I mean, I'm not gonna get it. The bat is also the bat has developed a means of navigating in an environment that a lot of people aren't able to. A lot of creatures aren't able to, not just people. There are quite a few creatures that have adapted means and ways to navigate the night. But I think overall, I don't know, most creatures are asleep at night. Now, because of the echolocation of the bat, and then with the Six of Wands on the other side of this, the butterfly that grows out of the bramble, and you can see that the bramble is thick enough that it's probably pretty dark. It's illustrated as dark in the bramble. Um, Doppler energy has been coming through. Sonar is very akin to that Doppler energy because the bat sends out the bat clicks its tongue to send out those sound waves, and as the wave is reflected off of things in its environment, the bat can't. I just saw that on like Twitter. What was it? I forget what it was. I forget what it was, but it's akin to a storm. If you listen for the time in between the cracks of thunder, you can gauge roughly how far away the storm is by the time that it takes for you to hear one sound and then another sound. With echolocation for the bat, it clicks its tongue. The oracle juice is coming from me. It clicks its tongue, and then the time that it takes for that sound to reach its ear gives it the ability to effectively like map out the area. And there's something about the shadow of this Daughter of Cups. It's like red is hot, blue is not. Well, purple is not. So it's like it has this ability to project its shadow or to extend its consciousness in a way. Now it feels a little less like echolocation just because it doesn't necessarily feel like the time it takes for something to come back. The Daughter of Cups is the daughter. It's not yet a master. She's not yet a master. She's still learning. This is a gift that she has that she's in the process of being able to use or learning how to use. Um, and I say that it makes me think of Neji in Naruto when he fought Kitamaru question mark, which was the spider one. Um, but it's like she's able to project out her consciousness, or she's able to extend herself in some way, and anything that falls in that extension based on where it pings, like if it's in the red, the orange, the yellow, green, the blue, the indigo, the violet, she has a knowing of like the relative distance of that to her. Also, the unicorn, like the horn is a single point. So I don't know if like the daughter is going to evolve in a way to be able to extend herself in all directions. So where it ends up like a 10 of Pentacles. I don't think I saw the 10 of Pentacles. So I will find it really quick because it would be in this half of the deck again, because I don't think I saw it, but we'll see if I did. And I wasn't looking for it. So, oh, look, the High Priestess is right under the Sun. So it's the Seven of Swords, the Emperor, the Son of Wands, and then the High Priestess. Behind the High Priestess is the Hierophant. Anyway. I don't remember if I saw the Mother of Cups. It's possible. Oh, well, here she is right there. And we'll pull the cards before and after. I showed. Oh, and then there's the 10 of Pentacles. So there's the 6 of Wands. Colored roots that run deep. Also in the shadow, there's the rainbow in the shadow of the Daughter of Cups. So that's why I pulled it. So the Mother and the 10 of Pentacles are separated by the 10 of Wands. So it's the 2 of Swords, the Mother of Cups, the 10 of Wands, the 10 of Pentacles, and the Father of Swords. This way, there you go. So originally I was going for the 10 of Pentacles because I'm going to just lay these all out like this. Because here you can see it's like when, if and or when. The Daughter of Pentacles learns to extend in all directions, then it becomes more like this 10 of Pentacles. Where it's this entire, like this is the Daughter of Cups in the middle. It's this entire field of red, orange, green, blue, indigo, violet, rather than this unidirectional. Because it's like she can be really good at this, but if it comes from literally any other direction, she'll be completely unaware. But here, her net expands in more directions. And then the reason why I went for the Mother of Cups is because I was like, okay, like this is her sort of like spatially. But the Mother of Cups has these multicolored stars. It's like, then it goes to this level of like, I don't even know what that is. There was an energy that came out a few years ago of gifts evolving. Like more so than expanding, more so than deepening, evolving. Like beyond what we think them necessarily capable of. But it's almost like if you were to break it down, and especially like gifts combining, it's like, oh, this is an application of like clairvoyance partnered with like an ability to astral travel. Well, that's not a good one. Because those are already, I mean, I guess you could say that clairaudience and astral travel are like clairvoyance and astral travel are related, but I don't know which one would be more local and which one would be more distant. But it's like there are these things that come together and they create this whole new gift, basically. But it's really like an expansion of one into an entirely new realm and frontier. And like that, to the point where she can throw out stars with these colors and be like, oh, like that was near the blue star. So that's all the way out here. At some point, maybe, yes. Maybe this will be an opportunity again for that to develop. It's like as connected as you are, as in tune as you are, as gifted as you are, there are still things that you will not know, that you will not necessarily see. Not to say that at some point you won't be able to, but for now, we don't necessarily have that capability, but also it's not for us to. AKA, you don't have to. Right? Now, this came out, the Mother of Cups was in between